Ricky, have you been watching The Penguin?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, Ricky. So the latest episode, Centani, has a 9.5 out of 10 on IMDb. It's one of the highest rated TV episodes ever. Not just for The Penguin, ever. Ricky Flex, I know we haven't been staying up to date with The Penguin episode by episode, but I was curious what your thoughts on of the show as we hit the halfway marker of the season.
The show's hitting on all cylinders. It's doing exactly what you want from like a spin-off, completely separate from a certain IP, but still within that IP type of show or movie, right? It has your titular character and Oz, but then you have all these great supporting roles and performances and characters that elevate the show. And you're not so reliant on, I don't know, let's just say Agatha, and you're not reliant on all these other supporting characters. Right, or you are reliant on them, but you know what? That show, I don't know, I won't bash Agatha today, but I guess what I'm just trying to say is that everyone's great in this. Meliody's great, Doug Stamper, my guy, great. Everyone's great in this outside of Colin Farrell, who's also great. And I think just you see the production quality. I think it's still high even after the Batman. Yes, it's clearly a TV show and not the Batman, but it's still great. HBO, it does deserve that HBO quality. To say that episode 4, 9.5 out of 10, one of the best TV episodes of all time, that seems kind of high for me. But without a doubt, it's great. It is great. So I'm loving the show. It's working, and I can't wait for the second half of this season.
This episode was unbelievable. I still am a huge fan of the first episode. I loved the pilot for this show. It was the introduction of Sophia, right? We obviously have her solo episode being episode 4, but I think the strength of the show is the writing and the performances of these characters, you know? And this one, it's like how we're making a show about a B-list Batman villain, okay? Someone that was an ancillary character of the Batman getting a show. So is this show worth making? And like this show is kind of pushing you with every episode. It's pushing the audience. Like, okay, we're gonna go away from Oz Cobb as the focus. We're gonna do it on Vic, a guy who's not even comic book lore, and we're gonna make you care about him. Okay, the performance is going to be pretty exceptional too. I know people have their issue with the stuttering. I think Vic is pretty good. He has been a pleasant surprise from what I thought after watching the trailer. But we're going to have an episode that focuses on him. It's going to go into the world of Gotham City and the background of the Batman with the Riddler, Paul Dano's character flooding the city. How does it impact the everyday civilian common folk? People like to see alternate perspective. Love that. And then not only are we just going to focus on Vic, we're going to go to the next episode. We're not even going to have Oz Cobb in it. And he has been, Colin Farrell, amazing in this show. The triple crosser. You don't know which way he's going to lean. Every episode, he has a mixed bag. You don't know how he's going to pull himself out of situations. But we're not even going to have Oz Cobb in the 4th episode. We're just going to do a deep dive on Sophia Falcone. And we're going to go a deep dive on her family, the influence her family has that goes, it kind of builds off of the Batman, where it goes into Arkham Asylum, right? At least the hospital wing of Arkham. And we're getting to know this world a little bit better. And we are being able to have one episode where we soak in Christian Milioti, who is just eating this role up. I loved her in every scene here. And it's a tragic story. It's a tragic episode, how she is someone who seems fairly innocent and is looked at as like the heir to this crime family and is set up by her father. Okay. John Turturro being replaced by Mark Strong here. Mark Strong, I think formidable. He's great. I love Mark Strong. The guy never misses, save for maybe Green Lantern. But the story of her being accused of hanging all these people, tortured in Arkham, seeing the evils of Arkham Asylum, which sets up the Batman in the future too. And then to see her actually kill somebody. And then to see her by the end killing more than the 5 people she was accused of hanging, her own family, in order to get out of this like crazy situation she finds herself in, right, when she has to fly to Italy and whatnot. But I just loved the tragic story, us caring about Sophia Falcone, us caring about Vic in episode 3, and then Colin Farrell's tease like we're gonna hate Oz Cobb by the end of this. Like I don't know how to feel from episode to episode, right, about these people. I love them, I hate them. It's just been a one where I find that I need to keep watching the show, right? That they've been great with that. I know you've talked about that a good amount too, Ricky.
Yeah, and I think this episode kind of sets up the back half where it's like it's going to be Oz versus Sophia. I still think that, and especially after having one at the end of episode 3,
Yeah.
I still think it's
I'm
going to be Oz
believing
versus
that now
Sophia.
after watching.
Yeah, and now just by how many people, how many players are left, that's kind of how it kind of has to be for it to make sense, right? So I think with that, and we're rooting for both of these people, right? You're rooting for Sophia, who, like, oh, like rooting is like quotes, right? These are bad people. But like you're rooting for Oz, he's your main character and he's your underdog story. So you're rooting for him. And then they make Sophia into like this underdog story within her own family, right?
Right.
So it's like, all right, now you got to pick a side going into the back half of this season. And after this episode, you want to pick Sophia, right? So they're gonna have to figure out a way to say, hey, you know what? The main character is Oz. You should be rooting for him. And I don't know. He's like, again, you said Colin Farrell, like he's been teasing saying you're not gonna like him by the end of this. It's not gonna because if he like quote unquote kills Sophia Falcone,
Vic.
it's got to be because of Vic. That's the only way you could really, through 4 episodes in, to only have that comment come to fruition would be killing an innocent person, quote unquote innocent.
Or someone that he was responsible for bringing into this world, or quote unquote responsible. How much, like, obviously Vic was trying to obviously hijack Cobb's wheels, or his rims or whatever, and then brought him into the world. But I think this show, it's setting up for you to be emotionally destroyed at the end. It's setting up that you don't only care about Oz, you care less about Oz. You're more invested at this point, at the midway marker. You're invested in Vic and you're invested in Sophia now. Okay. And Vic is the lesser of two evils, literally. Okay. So at the end of this, not all 3 of these people are making it out of this show. And Penguin, he's the title character. He's going to make it most likely going into the Batman. And when he becomes the official Penguin, embraces the role and becomes this villain that is one of the top Batman antagonists, one of the best, or excuse me, like A or B list rogues gallery member.
Minimum B.
Minimum B. Yeah, I don't mean to like shit on him, but Batman's rogues gallery is so good, So
Right.
it's not no diss to him, and he was a secondary character in the Batman. Doesn't seem like he'll have a main role here. But Vic is someone I did not anticipate liking so much. I think he's going to be crossing lines now. It seems like after episode 3, he makes that decision to save Oz. He rolls over that member of the Maroney family with the car, right? It seems like there's going to be hell to pay for Vic. He's going to get his hands dirty, okay? And it could lead to, we've seen Oz cross pretty much everyone he's close to. He's crossed Sophia at the end of episode 3. He's crossed the Falcones numerous times, Maroney's numerous times to their face. Can't trust him. Is he going to cross Vic? When he crosses Vic, what is that going to look like? That's why I'm going to be invested for the second half of this show. But I think the writing's been great. Oz Cobb is so unpredictable, and you don't know what side he's going to be on every episode. So that's something I'm really enjoying.
Yeah, and I know we spoke a little bit last night off mic. I think one of the reasons why I love this show so much, and it's similar to Industry. They do something very similar in season 3, or the latest season of Industry, where it's like they end every episode, and it's like, how is Oz gonna get out of this?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do here? Like, how are we gonna, like, they just killed the entire Falcone crime family basically, and it's like, how are they gonna like put it all back together? The writing on the show has been spectacular thus far. Now they just have to finish the job, and that's like the key thing where it's like, are you going to kill Vic? Are you going to kill Sophia? How are you going to get Oz to the top? Maybe he doesn't get to the top by the end of this season. Maybe they've just been teasing that a little bit, and they're giving us too much hope. Who knows? But that's what I love about it, because it's so unpredictable. But yet, even though you kind of do know what's going to happen, it's still unpredictable in the same way. So I really like this show. I think it's hitting on all cylinders. I do think you're much higher on Vic than me. I'm not going to say it's a low point of the show. He's fine. He suffices to what his use is, I think, for Oz and the show. I don't think he's spectacular, but I did like his episode.
To me, it's similar to The Sopranos, how that was an excellently written show, but not always the best acted. Like, I don't think Vic is anywhere close to Christine Milioti and Colin Farrell. He's not. But does he hold his own as a secondary young actor to these people? Yeah, 100%. And did he carry it enough in that third episode when he had that screen time? Absolutely. And I think his chemistry with Colin Farrell is very good. But the best part about the show is how you say to yourself, how the hell is Oz Cobb going to get out of this? Right? When he's like, okay, we have to get the right hand of Luca. We have to get Johnny Vitti, right, to back us in this drug deal. And you're like, there is no way this is going to happen. How the hell are they going to pull this off? And by the end of the episode, you got Oz and Sophia going to Johnny Vitti's room, seeing him sleeping with Luca's wife and tapping his toes with a gun. I'm like, how did they do this? Or it's like, I don't know. It could be like him, and he has the person from the Baroni family at what's his face's funeral, Alberto's funeral. And it's like, how is he going to get out of this? You see him kill him. You're like, oh my God, how is this going to happen? Oh my God, the jewel's not in the car. They're literally writing themselves out of situations that I believe. It's not too like, okay, I don't believe that's too far fetched. It's feasible, right? It's feasible. And he's so unpredictable. They pull shit out of their ass that I'm like, how did they do that? And I'm buzzing at the end of the episode. And you've talked about it too, the cliffhangers. They keep you coming back, Ricky. Even when the show is such a pattern with this, the first scene when he shoots Alberto, as a Batman fan, I'm like, holy shit! Like Alberto Falcone is like someone that's a huge part of the Long Halloween story. I anticipate we see him. We're gonna see him for a while, and they shoot him right at the beginning. I'm like, oh my God! Like, how is he gonna get away with this? He's like one of the highest members of the family. He's the heir to the family after Carmine is killed at the Batman, during the Batman. They always write themselves out of the situations, Ricky.
Yeah, they do. And again, like you just said it, I think a big thing after episode 1 was like, oh, because like remember, sorry, now I'm backtracking a little bit. 2021 going into 2022, we're like, oh, like the Batman, how much of the Long Halloween is going to be inspired here, or will it be inspired at some point because we want to see the Long Halloween on live action on the big screen, So it's like, oh, like maybe Matt Reeves is going to do something like that. Maybe not in this one with the Riddler, but in the second Batman or the third Batman, right? And they just killed Alberto, who's such a core character in that story. It's like,
yeah,
oh, okay, I guess we're not doing the Long Halloween for Matt Reeves' universe. But hey, who knows? Maybe they will, and they'll just use the different characters somehow. They'll spin it like they have been spinning all these different characters, like the Riddler, like Oz Cobb, like Sophia Falcone. Who knows? But again, they just keep it on your toes, but also believable.
Yeah, Johnny Vitti's someone that's always in the Long Halloween too. He's on the periphery. He's gone now. Doug Stamper. Oh no, he's not gone.
No,
Sorry.
Doug's
They kept him alive.
Questionable. Just a window opening question.
That was, I guess, that's one where you might want to be like, I got to suspend a little bit of belief when everyone else in the house is dead. Yeah, the show's been unreal, Ricky. I cannot wait to watch the rest of it. Any other thoughts on the Penguin before we move on to the checkup? Just because I don't know if this is going to be the peak of it. This is a 9.5 out of 10 on IMDb. Is there going to be a regression? Like, I don't know how we're going to keep up this pace where it seems like episodes are building off one another. We're caring more about the characters. Are we going to hit a wall in this second half that will stall the momentum we're on?
That's the question. That's what I was about to bring up. They're doing such a good job, episode to episode, even flashback episodes, where it's building off of the previous episode or a cliffhanger, and it connects so well. That connectivity between the episodes, even with flashbacks, are great. But now he's going to the back half of the season, and we're expecting the showdown, or at least I am expecting the showdown. And with the lack of other characters now kind of supporting these dynamics across these families, it's like, crap, like you got to keep doing that. And you have no flashbacks to help you out anymore. And they can't do another one. And you kind of have to now have basically 4 hours to tell us how Oz is going to get out of this. And you got to make it believable, and you got to say, and Colin Farrell's already like telling us all, like saying you're not going to like Oz by the end of it. Now our expectations are this much higher after this episode, 9.5 out of 10 on IMDb. So it does feel like a peak, but can it still land the plane? Yes, it could still land the plane. They proved through 4 episodes they can. Why not another 4?
Right. And it's always just weird if like the penultimate or the finale doesn't live up to another episode in the season. We've seen that in Game of Thrones every once in a while. but I'm hoping that we can just continue this momentum. We can keep going, Ricky Flicks. I also anticipate maybe a little more Clancy Brown, since so many members of the Falcone family are now out of the picture, right? They didn't really leave a lasting mark for the most part. It's like Luca and the surrounding family. They kept Johnny Vitti, who has had an interesting dynamic. Doug Stamper, that actor has been amazing. I think he's been pretty good too, right? He does what he does, right? Sketchy, character, and also kicks Sophia around, but still like somehow gets walked by the end of the episode. So Clancy Brown, I'd like to see more of the Maronis.